Katie's excused. Butch,
Yes, here.
Brunel,
Here.
Vicky,
Here.
Phyllis, Deborah,
Here.
Donna's excused. Mia is absent. Angela is absent. Matt,
Here.
Michelle, absent. Shannon just found out she had COVID. She's very ill. Chris is absent. Melanie,
Here.
we do not have a quorum. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I count 8. Is that right, Trish? Then we have
I'm
no
counting
meeting.
That's what I count too.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Then we have no meeting, and the only thing we can do, according to Robert's rules that I know of, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, the only thing we can do is schedule the next meeting.
Miss
Without a
Nancy, I
quorum.
do see Miss Phyllis. That would give you 9, but I'm
We
not
need-
seeing, hold on one second. Let me see if I see anyone else coming through.
11.
I see Miss Phyllis only.
Mia LaMarche is connected.
I do see Miss Mia.
Hey.
So is that 10?
That's
How many-
That
10.
would, that would be 10 with Miss
That would
Phyllis
be
and
10.
Miss Mia. Yes.
And is the quorum 10 or 11? Yesterday it
11.
was 11, today, what is it, Phyllis?
Yes.
Yesterday it was 11 and today it's 10. So is someone there who can tell me what Jennifer says a quorum is?
To my understanding, it's per your direction, Miss Nancy.
Well, a quorum, our bylaws say that a majority of the members is a quorum. And I thought that meant of the 17 members, because we only have 17, Ms. Garner says it's 19. So
It's-
half of 19, you need, a majority is one
1 over half.
more than half, is that correct?
That would
Is that
be
right,
per
Vicky?
your direction, Miss Nancy.
So if it's one more than half, half is what, 9.5? Where's Matt Dugal when you need him? Matt?
Yep. So how many you said we had? 17? 19.
No.
It's per 19, the total.
Ms. Garner says it's 19, which doesn't make
9
sense.
and a half.
Okay, 9.5, and you can't have 9.5 people, so half of the 19 would be 10. 9.5 people is 10, because you can't have half a person, and a quorum would be one more than that. But Ms. Garner told me it was 10. So if we have 10 people, I guess we'll continue.
Miss Nancy, you have Chris Mailer
Chris-
that just got on board too.
So now we have 11, so.
Now we have 11.
Okay, it's gonna be an interesting meeting, folks. Bear with me because I have lots of instructions to follow. First, Ms. Garner says I have to read you this 3 pages. It's basically what she emailed you yesterday, so I will do that. Pursuant to the authority contained in Louisiana Revised Statute 42:17.1, the Employee Retiree Insurance Advisory Committee of the Lafayette Parish School Board will conduct a special meeting scheduled for January 25th at 5:30 p.m. by electronic means. The meeting will be conducted electronically due to the statewide emergency declared by the governor of the state of Louisiana as a result of COVID-19 and the virus's threat to the health, safety, and welfare of the public. As mandated by LARS 42:17.1 and 2, the presiding officer of the Employee Retiree Insurance Advisory Committee of the Lafayette Parish School Board hereby certifies that the below agenda for said meeting is limited to one or more of the following. A, matters that are directly related to the public body's response to the disaster or emergency and are critical to the health, safety, or welfare of the public. B, matters that if they are delayed will cause curtailment of vital public services or severe economic dislocation and hardship. C, matters that are critical to continuation of the business of the public body and that are not able to be postponed to a meeting held in accordance with the other provisions of Louisiana Open Meetings Law due to a legal requirement or other deadline that cannot be postponed or delayed by the public body. And D, which is the one that applied to us, other matters that are critical or time sensitive and that in the determination of the presiding officer should not be delayed. However, such matters shall not be considered at the meeting unless the members of the body present at the meeting approve the consideration of the matters by a 2/3 vote. That's the document I have to sign every time we have a Zoom meeting. A period for public comment will be provided before action is taken on an agenda item. Individuals wishing to make a public comment about any of the posted agenda items will need to call. And if you're watching and interested in a comment, the number is 337-521-7064 at the designated time for each agenda item. The committee chair will announce when it's time for public comment on each agenda item. An individual with comments regarding that item should call in at that time. I think we now have 90 seconds to wait. The comment period will remain open until all calls are taken, and then the comment period for that agenda item will be closed. Agenda, certification, notice of meeting, agenda and instructions for public comment, roll call, call to order, approval of agenda, approval of minutes, election of officers, election of new Employee Retiree Insurance Advisory Committee representing Transportation Department, election of new Employee Retiree Insurance Advisory Committee representing Maintenance Department, Hub International report on self-funded group health plan, contracts and services review, retiree point of contact follow-up, Affleck Dental follow-up, BCBS card reissue, pharmacy benefit manager for high deductible health plan clarification, and Fund 85 balance. Instructions for public participation. The virtual meeting of the Employee Insurance Advisory Committee scheduled for January 25th at 5:30 p.m. will be streamed live via our YouTube channel. A link to watch the meeting. And this changed, I think, Trish, from what is printed on here, that you go to lpssonline.com, then to board and check on board meeting videos. The other way you could do it is to go to youtube.com and in the search engine in the search bar put LPSS online meetings, and that will get you to this meeting as well. The committee chairperson shall properly identify and acknowledge public comments during the meeting, and it shall maintain the comments in its record of the meeting. Any person wishing to make a comment on an item on the agenda prior to the meeting should send an email to nancymmm@aol.com on January 25th, 2022 to state their comment. A period for public comment during the meeting will be provided prior to taking any vote on an agenda item. Individuals wishing to make a public comment about an agenda item, which the committee will take action during the meeting, will need to call 337-521-7064 at the designated time for each agenda item. The comment period will remain open until all calls are taken, and then the comment period for that agenda item will be closed. So to clarify, the role for Vicki is graciously agreed to take role for Donna, who could not be here. We have added Donna. Phyllis is here. Mia is here. Chris is here. And I think that's it. Is that right?
Yes.
I still have Carol Broussard,
Gives me
Katie, Donna, Angela Lee, Shannon, and Michelle as absent. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Still correct. And Trish, if you would let me know during the meeting, if we lose a quorum, we need to end the meeting. So, all right, next instruction I have. What is the total number present?
11.
We have a total of 11 members.
11 members. Yes.
Okay. I need to also identify all the people on the call. So in addition to those people whose names I've already called out who are on the committee, is Lynn Fontaine with Hub International.
Brooke Bruno.
I don't know if she still is. Trish LaBeouf, who's the director of the School Board Insurance Department. Is anyone else online, Trish?
Brooke Brunet.
I said Brooke.
There. And
Mr.
then
Mouton's on board too.
Mouton. Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Mouton?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Who is the Director of Employee Services for the school board. Is there
Aye.
anyone that I missed? All right, the next thing we have to do, and it's going to take time, but it's required. Rather than approving the agenda as a whole, we need to approve each agenda item with a 2/3 vote. Ms. Trosclair called me last night, and she And I agreed that it would be easier to do that at the beginning and get it done and out of the way. So we will have a vote on each agenda item before we approve anything else on the meeting. Does anybody have any questions about that process? All right, the first item on the agenda, and we will need 7 votes, Vicki.
Okay.
The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes. We need a motion and a second to include this item on our agenda. Is there a motion?
I
to-
motion, yeah, this is Mia Lemare. I motion that we approve the minutes
Thank
from
you.
the last.
Burnell.
Is there a second?
Yes,
Burnell.
Burnell.
Brunel, thank you. Okay, now we have to have a roll call vote. So I will go through the roll. Here, Jane?
Here.
No, we need to know what, yes or no, do you want to include the minutes on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, Butch,
Yes.
Nancy, yes, Burnell,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Phyllis,
Yes.
Deb- Deborah,
Yes.
Mia,
Yes,
Matt,
You muted?
Yes.
Are you muted?
Chris,
Yes.
and Melanie.
Yes.
So the minutes will be on our agenda. Oop, my error. We need to have public comment. Is there anyone who wants to comment on whether or not we approve minutes on this agenda? The number to call is 337-521-7064, and we need 90 seconds. Does anybody know someone named Laura? I have a, oh, I know who that is. Okay. We have 90 seconds to wait, and the number is 337-521-7064.
Ms. Nancy, the only thing I would reiterate is that each member is certifying that their belief is D, that it is critical based on the statement of D, based on your certificate. That's the only portion I would
I
add.
said that when I read the certification.
I would suggest doing it per agenda item, just so that they remember that it's per that certificate.
Let's just say it again. So when you vote to include something on the agenda, you are agreeing that it is critical and time sensitive, and we need to have that on our agenda and deal with it tonight. Does anyone not understand that, or does anyone want me to reiterate that? Okay. Have our 90 seconds passed, Trish? We have 9 seconds left. Okay, my time says it's up. Is that right, Trish?
Yes, ma'am, my time is up as well, and I don't have a call.
Next item, election of officers. We need a motion and a second to to include that on our agenda. Is there a motion?
I so move. Butch.
Butch,
I
Mutal,
second.
and that is,
Mia, I second.
thanks, Mia. Now we have public comment. We have 90 seconds again. The number to call if you have a comment is 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. And the item to be included on the agenda is the election of officers for the Employee Retiree Insurance Advisory Committee. 337-521-7064.
I really don't understand why you can't take the whole group in total. Why do you have to do
one individually. This is the most convoluted thing I've ever come across in a meeting.
I couldn't disagree with you more, Burnell, but that's what I am being required to do. In the past, what we have done is have a 2/3 vote on the agenda as a whole agenda.
Correct.
But apparently that's not sufficient, so we are having to do
By
it.
whose law?
Pardon me?
By whose guidelines or whose laws?
By the laws of the state of Louisiana as interpreted by the Lafayette Parish School System. And I will tell you specifically, Ms. Trosclair called me last night and she told me this is what I needed to do. So this is what I'm going to do.
Well, we could be here till 12.
Nancy,
What?
I have a question. Okay, on the agenda attached to Ms. Gardner's thing, they have the numbers 1.1, 1.2, 2.1, 2.2.
Right.
Are we using that agenda or
Yeah.
are we using, we're
Yeah.
not using the one that you sent out? Because the numbers are different is why I'm asking.
I don't have those numbers in front of me. I just have the narrative written out. So use the one Ms. Gardner
Use this
said.
one.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, now we need a roll call vote, Vicki, on whether or not we are going to elect officers at this meeting. Whether we all think that is critical and time sensitive. So we will have a roll call vote on that. Mary Jane?
Yes,
Butch?
critical and time sensitive.
Butch?
Yes.
Nancy, yes. Brunel?
Yes.
Vicki?
Yes.
Phyllis?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Mia?
Yes.
Matt?
No.
Matt, no. Chris?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Okay, next item is the election of an employee retiree insurance advisory committee member representing the Department of Transportation. They have been without a representative for some time. So I need a motion to include that on our agenda tonight.
I so move, Burnell.
Burnell, is there a
second, Phyllis.
second? Phyllis. Public comment. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. And we will wait for 90 seconds, which is what I was told to do. And then we'll have a roll call vote on whether or not the election of a representative from transportation is critical or time sensitive. We have 50 seconds left. The number's 337-521-7064. If anyone wants to comment.
Nancy,
Yes,
and I guess, I voted no on the last one. I just want to explain a little bit. When I'm reading, I just opened the email. I've been really behind, and I'm seeing that there's a $500 fine. And as a reminder, should a meeting be held in violation of RS 42-17-16-1, the open meetings law, each committee member could personally be fined up to $500 per violation.
we all got that email from Jennifer yesterday, Matt.
Miss Nancy, I do have someone who would like to make a public comment. Hold on 1 second.
The time's up.
They've
I'm
been
happy
on
to-
here waiting for you to stop. Hold on 1 second.
Nope.
This is the LPSS informational line. Can you please state your name for the record?
Keith Johnson.
Can y'all hear that, Keith Johnson?
Our
Okay, go
former-
ahead. You have 3 minutes to make a public comment, Keith. How can I help you?
Yes, all we're interested in is the Bus Drivers Association would like to ask that you consider Laura Smith to be transportation representative. I've heard that from several people, and I think she would do a very good job. Laura Smith.
Let me just repeat it because I don't think they heard you, Keith. That's Keith Johnson on the line. He is requesting, the Transportation Department is requesting that Laura Smith, am I stating that correctly?
No, actually, Bus Drivers Association would like to see Laura Smith as the transportation representative.
The Bus Driver Association is requesting that Laura Smith be the transportation representative for the insurance committee. That's what Keith Johnson is on the phone with.
Thank you very much. Are there any other calls or comments?
Keith, do you have anything else?
No, not at this time.
I appreciate it. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Keith. Now we have a roll call vote on whether or not a representative from the Transportation Department needs to be put on this committee tonight and is critical and time sensitive. And the motion, does anyone have a motion?
I so move, Butch Mouton.
Butch,
I second Mary Louise.
roll call vote. Mary Jane,
Yes.
Butch,
Yes.
Nancy, yes. Burnell,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Phyllis,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Mia,
Yes.
Matt,
No.
Chris,
Yes.
Melanie.
Yes.
All right, next item on the agenda is the election of a representative to this committee from maintenance. Some of you may not know Clyde Stansberry, who's a longtime member of this committee. He and Keith both were on for longer than I've been, has retired. So we need to determine if that needs to be on our agenda tonight, a representative from the maintenance department on the committee. Is there a motion to consider that on our agenda tonight? Is there a motion to have a representative from the maintenance department?
So move, Butch.
Butch, is there a second to that motion?
Burnell, yes.
Burnell, thank you. Public comment, 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. And the issue is whether or not a representative from the maintenance department should be considered on the agenda tonight. And whoever it is would be replacing Clyde Stansberry. The number again is 337-521-7064. Forty seconds left. 337-521-7064. Three, 337-521-7064. And our time voted. Next item is the report from Hub International.
We have to vote, Miss Nancy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Roll call.
Oh, Thank you, Vicky.
You're welcome.
Mary Jane,
Yes.
Butch,
Yes.
Nancy. Yes, Brunel,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Phyllis,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Mia,
Yes.
Matt,
No.
Chris,
Yes.
Melanie.
Nancy, would you ask Matt to explain Matt, why exactly do you vote no?
Matt,
On the email, it says that will be subject to a $500 fine, and I guess I'm just not comfortable with that personally. I was just reading this. I don't want to leave the meeting because I don't want to not have a quorum. But I just don't feel comfortable voting yes.
So by voting no, you're saying what? You disagree with the meeting?
That this rises to the occasion of an emergency.
well, it doesn't say emergency, it says critical or time
Critical.
sensitive. Critical is of significant importance. So if this is of significant importance, we keep it on the agenda. If it is not of significant importance or time sensitive, we don't keep it on.
And I would argue that it's critical because you're literally not leaving the meeting because you don't want to lose quorum. If we had more members and you were that uncomfortable, you would then be able to leave because we'd still have a quorum. So it's pretty critical that we add these new members.
All right, we've taken the vote on that. Next is, there's a lot of noise in somebody's background. Next is the Hub International report. That is the report for Chris, and I failed to welcome you, Chris. Chris is a new member to our committee representing LPAE. The Hub International report, Chris, is the report that deals with our self-funded insurance plan. When we last met several months ago, the report was not all that encouraging. There was some concern about the fund balance and where we left it. That was my personal concern about why I felt it was of importance to find out. I am not allowed to communicate with Mr. Fontaine, so this is the only way we can all.
You see, you got your volume all the way up?
Hello? I can't, somebody's talking. So the question is, do we think the Hub International report is critical or time sensitive and should be included in our meeting tonight? I need a motion and a second.
So moved, Butch.
Butch, is there a second?
Second, Chris.
Chris, thank you. Public comment, 90 seconds. 337-521-7064, 337-521-7064, 337-521-7064. The issue is whether or not the Hub International report on the self-funded insurance plan, excuse me, which you should all have been emailed by Trish yesterday. You should know that the whole process of trying to have this meeting started more than a week ago, and it wasn't finalized until recently, which is why, Chris, you didn't get the Hub report until the last minute. But usually, if we have a Zoom, it's been mailed to us. And Mr. Fontaine, hopefully, if this is included, will have screenshots for us to go through. 30 seconds left.
Ms. Nancy, just as a note, the Hub report has to be reviewed by administration before it gets sent out. I just wanted to make sure everyone's aware of that.
We appreciate you sending it to us yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
And our time is up. Next is contracts and services. The question is whether contracts and services review is critical and time sensitive.
I'm sorry, did
Miss
you
Nancy, you didn't
get a
vote.
vote on Lynn?
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm following so many rules. I appreciate all the reminders. Mary Jane,
Yes.
and this again is the Hub International report. If it is considered critical or time sensitive and should be included. Butch,
Yes.
Nancy, yes. Brunel,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Phyllis,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Mia,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
You heard, okay.
Chris,
Yes.
and Melanie.
Yes.
I just got an interesting text message. I apologize for laughing. Next item on the agenda is contracts and services review. Chris, for your benefit, normally Trish at every meeting gives us a review of the contracts that are expiring. The issue for me is that I think Trish, 4 contracts, Blue Cross Blue Shield, EBI, Humana, and one other will renew January the 1st. And the committee didn't have any input. Did
That's
those?
not accurate, but I can explain it later if it's an agenda item that you review.
Okay, so the subject then, I need a motion and a second. Do we want to look at contracts and services review from Trish LaBeouf of the insurance department? I need a motion and a second.
I so move, Phyllis.
Phyllis moves. Is
Second.
there a second,
Chris.
Chris? Thanks, Chris. Public comment.
Vote.
Pardon me?
That's
that
right.
good?
you- Public comments.
Public comments and then vote. Okay. Last time I forgot the public comments. Now I'm forgetting the, so I'm trying, folks. We have about, oh, I don't know, I've taken about 10 seconds, so. The number again, 337-521-7064. And the issue is whether we want contracts and services reviewed, including the ones that were just renewed. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. I have 40 seconds left. 337-521-7064. And the issue is, do we include contracts and services review on our agenda as critical, significant importance, or time sensitive? We have 15 seconds left. 337-521-7064. And the time has expired. Now we have a roll call vote on contracts and services to be included on the agenda. Mary Jane?
Yes.
Butch?
Yes.
Nancy, yes. Brunel?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Phyllis?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Mia?
Yes.
Matt?
No.
Chris?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Next item on the agenda. Retiree point of contact follow-up. As you all know, Chris, you do not. Retirees make up 40% of the self-funded plan. When we started off a few years ago, we had really no point of contact with retirees. We have made some progress, but I have had several calls over the card issues that we've had since the first of the year, and even had a call today from a 96-year-old retiree from South Carolina who called call today because she saw Trisha's newsletter and got my phone number. So we need to decide if the retiree point of contact information, Trish has looked into whether or not we can have a robocall, which would be great if we can do that. So the question is, will the retiree point of contact follow-up be on our agenda? I need a motion and a second.
So move
And that is
for now.
Burnell. Is there a second?
I second Mary Jane.
Mary Jane. Public comment, 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. The issue is contact information, a point of contact for retirees. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. I'm going to be saying that in my sleep all night. 337-521-7064. I have 40 seconds left. Three, 337-521-7064. Three, 337-521-7064. 10 seconds left. And a roll call vote on whether or not the retiree point of contact information is placed on our agenda as critical or time sensitive. Mary Jane?
Yes.
Butch?
Yes.
Nancy, yes. Burnell?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Phyllis?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Mia?
Yes.
Matt?
No.
Chris?
No.
Melanie?
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is Affleck Dental. Butch knows a great deal more about this than I do. The cards were late in going out. As I understand it, they then went out, but they went out without a group number. Is that correct, Trish?
I can give you an explanation if it gets voted through. Yes, ma'am, but no, it's inaccurate too, but I can give you an explanation.
So the cards did have the group number on them? Because that calls I got said they didn't have a group number.
I can discuss it if it's an agenda item that the committee votes on. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I need a motion and a second to discuss the Affleck Dental card issue.
So moved.
Motion, Butch, I figured you would. Second? Is there a second to Butch's motion to include the Affleck Dental issue on our agenda?
Second.
Yes.
Mary Jane is the name I heard, so there were several of you. Public comment, 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. The issue is whether or not the Affleck Dental card issue should be on our agenda. 337-521-7064.
Save that for me.
337-521-7064. $35 seconds left. 16 seconds left. 337-521-7064. And the time is up. Mary Jane,
Yes.
Butch,
Yes.
Nancy, yes, Brunel,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Phyllis,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Mia,
Yes.
Matt,
No.
Chris,
Yes.
Melanie.
Yes.
Next issue is the Blue Card Blue Shield issue. We got an email to tear up the Blue Shield cards. That was the call I got today. And then we got an email not to tear up the Blue Cross Blue Shield card. Most people, I think, understood what Trish was explaining. Some people apparently got confused about it. So that's the reason that's on our agenda. I need a motion and a second to determine whether Blue Cross Blue Shield cards need to be on our agenda tonight. Is there a motion? Is there a motion to discuss Blue Cross Blue Shield cards?
So moved, Butch.
Now.
Butch, second.
Yes. Deborah Thrower.
Thank you, Deborah. Public comment, 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. The issue is whether or not Blue Cross Blue Shield card issues should be on our agenda as time sensitive or critical.
While you're waiting for the time lapse, I'd like to know how many meetings in Louisiana are being held that 45 minutes is being spent approving the agenda before you have a meeting. I have never heard of anything of this nature.
And they're being held all across the state, and they are not following these procedures. But that is what we need to do. That is what we need to do.
I understand that, but that's ludicrous.
One that was held here in Lafayette, the last time we were doing Zoom, it's been a couple of months. They didn't read the certification. They didn't have public comment until at the end of their meeting. It took them no time. They had no roll call votes. It was very quick and easy, but that's not what we're asked to do. And we aim to please.
Nancy, I think we had somebody join the meeting.
We did. That's what I was just trying to take a look at. Miss Melanie Aber. Did you drop off Miss Melanie and King?
Yes,
back?
I got off.
He was on
I got
before.
off my phone and went on my iPad.
Yeah. All right, we now need a vote on the Blue Cross Blue Shield card issue. Mary Jane,
Yes.
Butch,
Yes.
Nancy, yes. Brunel,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Phyllis,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Mia,
No.
Matt,
No.
Chris,
No.
Melanie.
Yes.
So the motion passes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that correct, Vicky? I think there were 3 no's.
Eight yeses and
3
3
no's.
noes. That's your 11.
So the motion passes. The next item on the agenda is pharmacy benefit manager for Blue Saber program. We were not aware that there was a pharmacy benefit manager different for the Blue Saber plan than there was for all the other employees who are on basic or enhanced. We found that out. I can't remember how I found out, maybe from Trish. But it was just recently that we found out, and I don't know how that came to be and why it came to be. So that is why it is included on the agenda. Most all the basic and enhanced, the retirees are all on silver scripts, everybody who's on Medicare. And then the basic and enhanced have a pharmacy benefit manager. Trish, correct me if I'm wrong, please. And then the Blue Saber, which is the third type of plan that we have, has a different pharmacy benefit manager, according to what Trish said. Is that right, Trish?
Yes, Nancy, I can discuss it if they approve it.
Okay. I need a motion and a second to include the pharmacy benefit manager for the Blue Saber program on our agenda. Is there a motion?
I so moved.
Mary Jane, is there a second? Is there a second to the motion?
Butch, second.
Butch. Public comment, 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. Y'all will be glad to know we only have one more after this, and then we can start the regular meeting. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. There are, for everyone's information who didn't know, there are statutes that govern having these Zoom meetings. And previously, what it says is that it's up to the discretion of the chair, I believe. I don't have the exact wording, with the concurrence of a 2/3 vote of the committee. That's why we have in the past voted on the agenda as a whole and gotten a 2/3 vote. We could have exempted an item, but this is the way we were asked to do it, so that's how we're doing it. We have 10 seconds left. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. We are out of time. Last one to determine, I'm sorry, roll call vote. Mary Jane.
Yes.
Butch.
Yes.
Nancy, yes. Brunel.
Yes.
Vicky.
Yes.
Phyllis.
Yes.
Deborah.
Yes.
Mia.
Yes.
Matt.
No.
Chris.
No.
Melanie.
Yes.
That motion passes. The last item to determine whether or not it should be on our agenda is the fund balance of our Fund 85. I think at our last meeting several months ago, it was $3 million. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, the highest, or Butch might remember, the highest I remember it being is $10 million at one time.
That's correct.
I have no idea what it is now, which is why it is critical and time sensitive, at least to me personally. And I need a motion and a second to include it on the agenda.
So moved, Butch.
Butch, second.
Second, Mary Jane.
Mary Jane. Public comment, 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. And the issue again is to learn what the fund balance is in Fund 85. And whether or not we need to do something about it. Hopefully we don't. 337-521-7064.
Miss Nancy, shouldn't that be public record, the fund balance?
I would imagine it is.
Okay.
I would assume it is, but if you made a public records request, I guess it would be. I don't know. Matt would be able to answer that since that's his department. If someone made
Yes,
a public
the financials are currently the CAFR is under the audit. Actually, we should get the final results tomorrow. We have some preliminary results for 6:30. They're just running late because of COVID. We had audit issues due to staffing from both internally and externally from the auditors.
Yeah, I think everybody is having that problem, man. It's not just you. Our time is up. We need a roll call vote on Fund 85 fund balance. Mary Jane,
Yes.
Butch,
Yes.
Nancy, yes, Brunel,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Phyllis,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Mia,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Melanie.
Yes.
All right, now that we have done that, Trish, do you want a motion to approve the agenda as a whole since we've approved them individually, or is that sufficient?
I would just go ahead and do it, Ms. Nancy. That way you've got a
All
final.
right, motion to approve the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
move. Phyllis.
That's Phyllis.
Yep.
Brunel is the second.
Yes.
Going to wait for public comment for 90 seconds. The number is 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. Whether or not we can approve this agenda. Forty seconds left. 337-521-7064. For public comment. 337-521-7064. And we have 20 seconds left. 337-521-7064. And our time is up. Next item on, roll call vote. Mary Jane,
Yes.
the motion is again to approve the agenda. Butch,
Yes.
Nancy, yes. Brunel,
Yes.
Nikki,
Yes.
Phyllis,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Mia,
Yes.
Matt,
No.
Chris,
Yes.
Melanie.
Yes.
Next agenda item is approval of the minutes. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes from our last meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved, Butch.
Butch, is there a second?
Deborah Thrower, yes.
Thank you, Deborah. Public comment? We have 90 seconds. Public comment on whether or not to approve the minutes of our last meeting. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. The issue is whether or not to approve the minutes of our last meeting. Trish, I'm assuming we still have a quorum, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
337-521-7064. 40 seconds left. 337-521-7064. I know this is torture, you all, and I appreciate it so much, and I wish we didn't have to do it. I'm looking at your faces, and I am so sorry, but this is the direction we have to go to have a Zoom meeting, apparently. Our time has 15 seconds. 337-521-7064. Time is up. Next item on the agenda is
Roll call.
I'm sorry. Thank you, whoever reminded me. Mary Jane,
Yes.
Butch,
Yes.
Nancy, Brunel,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Phyllis,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Mia,
Yes.
Matt,
No.
Chris,
Yes.
Melanie.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda, election of officers. We'll need to nominate 3 officers. We have a secretary, who is currently Donna Broussard, who's not with us tonight, a vice chair, who is Katie Landry, and not with us tonight. Unfortunately, several of you know, but for those of you who don't, she lost her 101-year-old mother very recently in the services tomorrow. And I hope we'll all keep her in our thoughts. And we need a chair. So our bylaws require that that be done at the first meeting of the year. So I need, first of all, a nomination for secretary. Does anyone have a nomination for secretary?
Can I make a motion that we have the same, we just nominate the same ones who are up there right now. They're doing a good job. And we do that by acclamation.
I second.
Butch made the motion and the second was Burnell. I don't know if I need to read, I guess.
They need to know, do they need to be present?
No, no. Donna's not present, so but she had given me notice at the last meeting. That's how long ago she knew she would not be here. So I hate to do it to you, Butch and Brunel. I'll keep the motion in the second for each one, but I really think we need to vote individually on each agenda item, because the problem and the thing Matt was talking about, the fine, is if we willingly violate any open meetings law, which I don't think anyone here has any intent to do. I think we've bent over backwards not to do that, as a matter of fact. So just to be on the safe side, we'll vote individually. So the nomination for the current secretary to stay secretary, the name is Donna Broussard. Any public comment? 90 seconds. Any public comment on Donna Broussard being elected as secretary of the Employee Committee? The number is 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. Donna Broussard as secretary of the Employee Retiree Insurance Advisory Committee.
Donna, I'm going to vote no on this, but I just want to make sure that that is not a reflection of anything that you've done. I'm just being consistent with my previous votes on the items. But good job, Donna. I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
We'll record you as voting no, Matt.
And I still don't fully understand why you're doing that. I really don't. Are you saying we should not be having this meeting? Matt.
That it's just with the $500 fine over our head. I just feel more comfortable with the 2 items. I did vote yes, in my opinion. Those rise to those levels. Some of the other ones, in my opinion, don't. I mean, I respect the opinion of the committee and the people that voted yes or no on some of them, but that's just my personal opinion. So I think the reading of the report and the discussion of fund balance, in my opinion, rose to those occasions, and the other ones perhaps didn't, but everybody's available to their opinion.
And it is
strange. I find it strange.
It is an individual opinion, and everyone is entitled to that, as long as we are making every effort. None of us are lawyers. We're doing the best we can. And I think we're trying very hard to comply with the open meetings law. So I hope that's the best we can do. All right, we need a roll call vote to elect Donna secretary since she's not here. Mary Jane?
Yes.
Butch?
Yes.
Nancy, yes. Brunel?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Phyllis?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Mia?
Yes.
Matt is a no. Chris?
Yes.
And Melanie Abear.
Yes.
All right, I'll have the same motion in second, if it's okay with Butch and Burnell. And that's for nomination for vice chair.
So move.
So, and the current vice chair is Katie Landry. So the motion would be to keep Katie Landry as vice chair.
Yes, so move. But
I will
Second.
Public comment, 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. Public comment on Katie Landry being named vice chair of the Employee Retiree Insurance Advisory Committee. Matt, my error, that last vote, I didn't let you vote. I voted for you. So you want to vote on that last issue?
Yeah, that would be a no. And also I'm going to vote on this, and that is no reflection of Katie or the job she did or any other thing I vote no on. I will be voting yes on the two items that I believe rise to the occasion of the meeting. But yeah, no, absolutely no reflection on Katie. And I'm sad to hear about her mother. My parents in their 90s, so I feel for her.
101 years old.
That is ridiculous. That is amazing.
All right, our time is almost up. We have 5 seconds, and then we'll have a roll
First
call.
and second, and then we have to have a 30-minute phone
Pardon?
discussion.
game day.
Roll call vote on Katie Landry as vice chair. Mary Jane,
Yes.
Butch,
Yes.
Nancy. Yes, Brunel,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Phyllis,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Mia,
Yes.
Matt,
No.
Chris,
Yes.
Melanie.
Yes.
Nominations for chair, I will keep Butch and Brunel, if that is acceptable.
Yes.
And that would be me again. Public comment. Are there any other nominations? I didn't ask that. I should have. Are there any other nominations? All right. We have a minute, 15 seconds. 337-521-7064. This is on Nancy Mounts staying chair of the Employee Retiree Insurance Advisory Committee. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. Brunel, we're enjoying your artwork behind you. So thank you for giving us something pleasant to look at.
Thank you.
I did have the Butch and Brunel motion second, did I not?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, Vicky, thank you. And our time is up. All right, next item on the
Roll
agenda.
call.
I'm sorry. I get distracted. Mary Jane,
Yes.
Butch,
Yes.
I'll skip voting. No, I can't do that. I'll abstain. Brunel,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Phyllis,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Mia,
Yes.
Matt,
No.
Chris,
Yes.
Melanie.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is a representative of the Transportation Department. There are 2 applicants for that position. One is Laura Smith. That's Keith Johnson, who used to serve on our committee, called in earlier and said the bus drivers were supporting Laura Smith. The second person is Bob Denny. Do I have a nomination for the position that's vacant in the Transportation Department?
Yes, Burnell, I'd like to nominate Laura Smith. I think that, as Keith says, as president of the Bus Drivers Association, what better representative would we have?
Okay. Thank you, Burnell. Is there a second to that motion?
Agreed, Butch.
Butch. Are there any other nominations? Then we have public comment. Public comment. Three, 521-7064. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. The vote is on Laura Smith as the representative of the Transportation Department on the Employee Retiree Insurance Advisory Committee. 35 seconds left. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. 15 seconds. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. Our time is up. So the new transportation representative will be Laura Smith, and I will contact her.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Why is it I forget the most important thing? That should reflect something. Mary Jane.
Yes.
Butch.
Yes.
Nancy, yes. Burnell.
yes.
Vicky.
Yes.
Phyllis.
Yes.
Deborah.
yes,
Mia.
Yes.
Matt.
No.
Chris.
Yes.
Melanie.
Don't nominate.
Yes.
And the next vacancy we have is in the Maintenance Department. That was Clyde Stansberry's longstanding position. We have only one applicant. His name is Kevin Bijou. Is there a motion to nominate Kevin Bijou for the Maintenance Department representative on the Insurance Committee?
Might as well do that one too, Burnell.
Okay, Burnell makes a motion to nominate Kevin Bijou. Is there a second?
Butch, second.
Butch, second. It's the Burnell and Butch show tonight, huh? Public comment on Kevin Bijou as the representative for the Maintenance Department on the Employee Retiree Insurance Advisory Committee. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. 337-521-7064. You have 24 seconds.
Miss Nancy, how does Kevin spell his last name, please?
I believe it's Bijou.
Thank you.
337-521-7064. And our time is up again. and we have a roll call vote on Kevin Bijou to represent the Maintenance Department on the Employee Retiree Insurance Advisory Committee. Mary Jane?
Yes.
Butch?
Yes.
Nancy? Yes. Brunel?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Phyllis?
Yes.
Deborah? Deborah?
Yes.
Okay. Mia?
Yes.
Matt?
No.
Chris?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is the Hub International report. That should be, Trish, correct me if I'm wrong, that should be all the votes that we need to take tonight. Is that correct? Trish?
I'm gonna leave that to your discretion, Miss Nancy.
But in term, there are no votes scheduled on the agenda, correct?
There's no more actionable items moving
Okay.
forward. They're all technically informational. You've already hit all the actionable items.
Hopefully we won't have the 90-second wait. All right, next item on the agenda
Make sure
is,
we do the right thing so we don't get fined $500.
what, Burnell?
I said, let's make sure we're doing the right thing so we don't get fined $500.
Yes, sir. I'm doing my best, boss.
Thank you.
Hub International, Mr. Lynn Fontaine. We should all have a copy of the report.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, good evening. Glad to see you all, and I'll be going over the year-end report for you, and Brooke will also be covering a few of the items here as well. So we'll go ahead and start on page 1. And you'll see first all participation, not much of a change there at all, just actually we're 7 employees less on the Blue Cross plan and 15 added to Humana, obviously less than 1% of any kind of participation change. Further on down in the reporting, I always mention to you membership versus enrollees or participants. Membership is once again not outpacing our participation, so we're in good shape there. Our medical for the year at $33,359. 598, prescriptions at 22,279. Our total claims at 55,639,150. Okay, so our total claims are up a bit here. Plan reimbursements, you can see at 7,641,029. That is a 34.8% increase in reimbursements when we look at the next page, measured on a per employee per month basis. Retiree drug subsidies up a bit. Our net claims figure of 46,663, very close to prior year in 20. Our fixed cost was actually down a little bit at 3,938,000. Retiree premium, once again, that is down. That was down about 7% at 610,920. Total plan cost 51,213,000, measured on a per employee per month basis, 749 versus prior year of 750. That is a decrease of basically 0.1%. Somebody want to mute their phone? All right, as far as funding, we have a slight increase in the funding. We went from 49,487 to 50,886. Net employer cost down from 36,214 down to 35,983. Budget loss ratio dropped from 103.4 to 100.6. showing a deficit of $326,322, which is a significant decrease from the $1,701,000 prior year. As always, even though we don't have a very significant change in our participation, we measure this on a per employee per month basis, so it's easier to see the changes either up or down in any of these categories. So medical, right, our participation once again changed less than 1%. When we look at the medical claims paid, medical is down up some 1.3%. Prescription drugs 9.4%, total claims at 4.4%. So our total gross claims went from $811 per employee per month to $847 per employee per month. Our plan reimbursements went from $86 to $116. That's your 38% increase. Also, our retiree drug subsidies up from 17 to 20. When we combine those two reimbursement categories, that's up about 32%, folks. From a net paid claim standpoint, we're actually up less than 0.1%, 708 to 711. We came down $1 in fixed cost. So our total Blue Cross Blue Shield plan cost, 769 versus 771. Once again, as mentioned on the first page, we went down 7% on our Humana costs. That brings that number down to 225 for a total plan cost of the 749 versus the 750. You see that 2.8% increase in funding from 725 to 745. Net employer costs going from 530 down to 526. And then once again, our surplus, deficit was at $25 per employee per month, and that's going down to only 4. So what I'll tell you when we're looking at all of this, and we always talk about a bit of a theme, we had a 4.4% increase in claims. 2020, we also knew to be more of a quieter year because we had some stay at home. And I've been talking about some pent-up demand on our claims. So we're seeing utilization up in the plan. We've had a lower amount of high-cost claimants, but of course you also have COVID. I'll share a figure with you that's not going to be really identified in the reporting, but it's meaningful to me. I wanted to give that to you. In that medical claims paid and prescription drugs paid, total claims of $55,639,000. That does include $1,066,843 of COVID claims. So keep in mind that as we progress through the pandemic, that hopefully that number should decrease. So on getting back to page 2 just for a second, I want to point out that utilization versus high cost claimants. On the third, fourth, and fifth bullet, you'll see that claims from 2,000 to 20,000, that's utilization. We don't call that a high cost claim. That went from 1,850 members in that category to 2,157, and that total number increased by a little over $2 million, 2,112,000. When we look at claims from 20 to 50, that's also utilization. It would be a mid-sized claim. That went up 1,581,000. So utilization's going up. Now, when we look at claims over 100,000, that we would certainly identify as a large claim, 43 members this year versus 48 the prior year, but the decrease is almost $3.5 million, $3,468,000. So once again, that theme, basically higher utilization from pent-up demand, little more little less frequency and amount, or significantly less frequency and amount on the high cost claimants. And of course, the positive that really went up some 38% is our reimbursements into the plan, and that was through the cost saving strategies with regard to prescription drugs. When we track things on a monthly basis here on page 3, all these numbers reflect the same thing that I've just reported to you. I'll point out to you in March, June, September, October, December, $1 million plus, and even the June at $2,109,000. That's that increased reimbursement to $7,431,000 of rebates and credits on the prescription drug program. On a fiscal year accrual basis, you'll see that we are at about $1.5 million from a deficit standpoint. The cash flow and this should normalize, and we should be diminishing on that deficit. And you can see on page 5, once again, that plan year deficit of $1.7 million. Page 6, prior fiscal year at $1,026,000. When we look at the demographics, once again, not much of a change there at all, but I will point out to you that the single employer, employee only, went up some 0.7%, while employee with any kind of dependent actually went down about 1.3. So once again, membership is not anything that's plaguing our plan. We're not having a huge influx of dependent participation into the plan. When we look at enrollment by plan, we virtually had no change from 20 to 21 with regard to the enhanced plan. We had 839 members, enrollees into that plan, and that remained the same exact number for 2021. Our basic was down some 2.3%, Blue Saber up 5.9. So that was good news for 21. In 22, you've got enhanced has actually gone up 2.9%. Basic stayed about the same, okay? Actually went down 0.6%, and Blue Saber went up, but only 1.8%. So we've got two things that we can look at there. The pandemic is going to change some thinking from some folks' point, and maybe wanting more protection from that enhanced plan. But at the same time, when you see that kind of migration to your highest benefit plan, it does lend itself to some comfortability with the premium and cost. So just note that point there. Membership wise, once again, remaining stable, decreasing less than 1%, and certainly not outpacing participation. On page 10, the medical graphically, remember claims between 2,000 and 20,000, between 20 and 5, both small and medium range claims actually went up. The large claims over 100,000 went down. Pent up utilization once again, and remember there's over $1 million in the COVID claims in this particular year. So higher utilization, lower high cost claims. From a prescription drug point of view here, we basically added a little something to this graph for you. So we know from the first couple of pages here that we had a 9.3% increase in our prescription drug gross claims. Now, while we had a 9.3%, look at that second bullet. Our net cost after the increased reimbursements and discounts decreased some 2.8%. So when you look at the chart above, you can see that 2020 was 310 on a gross basis, 212 after reimbursements. 21, 339. There's your 9.3% increase. But on a net basis, because of the increased discounts and reimbursements, our cost for prescription drugs actually went down close to 3% this year. Very pleased to report that to you. On a total claims basis, on page 12, total claims increased some 4.4%. Net of reimbursements remained stable. And of course, our reimbursements increased at 34.8%. Once again, very, very pleased to report that number to you. Humana was up 11 members on our page 13 here. And just taking a look at these bottom three bullets here. And remember, we had migration to enhanced for 2022 here. So while enhanced participation did not increase, okay, it did not increase for 21, it's increasing for 22, okay? Claims increased by 16.8%. And of course, it has 15.3% of the participation and 21.5% of the claims. Basic plan, 62% of the participation, 65% of the claims. So enhanced plan, once again, not supporting itself. Basic plan coming close to breaking even. Blue Saber, 22.5% of the participation, only 13.4% of the claims. Now, when I talk to the increased participation in the enhanced plan, if people are going there because they have increased health care, that's going to show an increase in claims costs down the road. If people are going there because they have concerns about the pandemic, but they haven't had charges, we're going to get more funding from them. So we're going to have to see how that plays out for us there and closely monitor that. When we look at a total plan cost on page 14, once again, we decreased less than 1%, just basically equal, 749 versus 750. I'm super pleased to tell you that since 2016, once again, our average increase is 1.8%. So when you're going through a period of a pandemic, when you're going through a period of much higher inflation and healthcare costs, and you're able to hold a plan this size to a 1.8% increase over a 5-year period on average, that is way, way ahead of the market, and we're doing very well there. When we look at our charges by type of service on page 15, you'll notice that inpatients actually decreased some 17.9, outpatient and professional, outpatient only up 2, okay, but it was already kind of on the high side. Professional up some 19.1. So once again, all of this reporting points to pent-up demand and utilization, but not an increase in high-cost claimants. And remember, high-cost claimants are what really drives the plan cost up. Inpatient by type of service, we pretty much equal on circulatory, injury and poisoning down, equal on musculoskeletal, big increase on undefined, and that's where your COVID is. Everything else is increase or equal or actually down. I'll point to neoplasms, which is cancer, that's down. And the only new one on this is the nervous system. When we talk about outpatient, really key, the factors influencing health at the top, most of that is chemotherapy. That's actually down in all these numbers. You know, you have your digestive, which is very close. The ones that went up are really genitourinary and symptom signs, abnormal findings. That does have some COVID mixed in it as well. Top facilities, it's almost equal because when I combine Lafayette and Lourdes for 2020, it comes out to $199 per employee per month. This particular year, $198. You'll notice that I just alluded to the fact that cancer was down some. You'll see that MD Anderson went from 18 to 6. Page 19. Our prescription drug utilization there. Do not be alarmed that we went from 87 to 85%. That is purely because of the COVID brand name. And I'll show you that in a couple of pages. We did not lose any of our generic utilization. Let's go to, I'm going to skip you to page 22. And you can see at the bottom there, the Pfizer is number 4 and Moderna at number 7. So they're 2 of your top 10 drugs by number of scripts, and they're the only 2 brand names on there. So that's why that information is skewed. Going back to page 21, you can see that we haven't had any kind of dip in utilization. 19, 20, and 21, all the same at 2.8 and 1.6. 2.8 scripts per employee per month, 1 scripts per member per month. Going back to 22 again, we noted the COVID vaccines. The other thing I'll note here is when I'm comparing you to several other systems and things like that, I'll tell you, I don't see as much utilization for psychotherapeutics as I see on some of the others, which is good news. When we talk about the top 10 medications by dollar amount on page 23, you'll notice that Humira was up slightly. Trulicity's up a decent amount, but everything else either equal or new. And of course, anti-diabetic and the ADHD, but Vyvanse has made the list this particular year. So diabetes is up, blood thinners, and anti-inflammatories. On PPO savings, this is the highest percentage number that I've reported to a school system this year in getting 70% PPO discounts. Now, a portion of that is because of the mix, and I just told you we had less utilization at MD Anderson, and that's going to help that number out as well. On the next page, we went from 98.3 to 97.3, and we lost 1% in our PPO. We went up on the discount. We lost 1%, but I'm super pleased to tell you where that money went. That's Dr. Thomas Bond and Regenix at $234,000. So we did not lose any network. We actually had some people take advantage of the Regenix, which has saved us money. And you did not see a super big increase on musculoskeletal. So pleased to share that data with you as well. From a cost breakdown standpoint, 92 cents on the dollar of plan cost is dedicated to claims. So basically 8 cents on the dollar is the cost of doing business, what we pay Blue Cross to administer the plan, what we pay for reinsurance, our network, all of these types of things. I can tell you that's superior to Medicare, Medicaid, and it's about any fully insured plan that I know of. That is a super low cost for running the plan, and I think we're from a timeliness of claims and accuracy and that type of thing, good cost and good service. Contribution analysis, plan costs net of the employee contributions. We had a little increase in funding, a little decrease in cost. So slightly less decrease, slightly decrease to our contribution as well. Page 28 is basically a duplication of the information we've received before. But you can see when we marry the same two time periods,
Just go ahead, Lynn.
okay. So what's different about this particular slide is it measures the exact same time period, and being just as a full year, it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. But you see black all the way around, and that means utilization. But when we get to the high cost claimants of 100,000 and above, there's your basically $3.5 million difference, $978 difference, $1,000 difference for the entire group. And then of course, all of this is summarized on our last page.
Does anyone have any questions for Lynn? Lynn, do you want to go through the summary real quick, or?
The summary is, I always prepare the summary for if you ever want to go back to it and look at any of the talking points, but that's basically just reiterating everything that I've just told you. These are all bullets taken from the pages to provide you a summary.
I have two quick questions. One, on the contribution analysis, page 27, the employee costs increased and the board cost decreased. Is that correct? Neither was significant. Page 27.
The board cost decreased a bit, and the reason is because of the decreased cost of the plan.
And the employee cost increased?
Because of funding, and we had more folks into the plan.
Okay, and my next question at our last meeting, Lourdes was the more utilized hospital of the two, and you were gonna talk to Lourdes Hospital about.
The general is the general was the higher
Yeah, it went back
utilized.
up. Yeah, it went back up in this report, but our last report, Lourdes was the highest, and you had indicated you were gonna talk to Lourdes Hospital about discounts. Did we do that?
We're talking to Lafayette General about discounts, and we're working with Blue Cross on that Blue Connect program. And I know Oshner's is meeting with them as we speak, so we should have an update for you at the next meeting or shortly.
Thanks. Anybody have any questions for Lynn Fontaine or about Hub Internet?
I have a quick question. On page 26, looking at the total cost for administration of the plan, is there some way to find out? Is there some way that we can look for ways to save money on that administration of the plan? Like, is there somebody else that we can go with?
You could go to a different carrier for your administration, but you would not be able to utilize Blue Cross's network. I.e., if you went to a United Healthcare, you would have United's network, which has inherently very similar providers, but a little bit of a different discount. or we could use a third-party administrator and rent a network such as a Cigna, Aetna, or have our own proprietary network. From a supply and demand standpoint, that 70% discount that we alluded to is a substantial discount. So one of the reasons why your plan has remained with Blue Cross administration is because of the breadth and depth of those discounts and breadth of the choice of providers in that network.
Chris, also, this is Chris's first meeting. Lynn goes out into the marketplace on an annual basis, correct, Lynn?
And we shopped it. So Chris, on the reinsurance component of it, which is the orange, obviously, that has no tie to the network or anything like that, and that's marketed each and every year because it's a 1-year contract.
Okay, and I get it, the 70% discount, but I mean, like, how do we know somebody's not willing to give us more if we don't go looking? I mean, I've had a varied experience with many different insurances in my life, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with shopping around, right? That's how you find the best deals, as you look. Like, and there's MetLife and stuff like that. I mean,
MetLife does not have a medical program, but to administer on a group your size. But there's other choices besides Blue Cross, obviously. Yes, sir.
Lynn, on page 6, this is Matt. On page 6, we're showing the accrual basis statements, and I'd like to compliment you that has gotten extremely close to our audited number. Our audited number is a loss of about $1,088,000. So I know we've had some over time discrepancies that we worked with accounting to try to get that a little closer. Page 6 to the real number, and I think the audited number that we're hopefully going to finalize tomorrow is about $1,088,000 loss. So the $1,026,000 you're showing is rather close.
That's the closest we've been so far. I'm gonna give Brooks a pat on the back for that.
I know we've been working on that. I just know the committee know we're trying. We don't want to present statements with different numbers, but it's a lot that goes into this. And when the auditors get in there, they really dig into this. So that the number is actually $1,088,000, but Lynn was really close at $1,026,000.
Any more questions for Lynn Fontaine?
Lynn, this is Butch. On the revenues, the reserves and whatnot, Ms. Broussard had always said, give me a little bit of increase every year, et cetera, instead of like the 3% we had to go with the last time. Do you suggest anything like maybe an annual increase of like 1% just to stay, because we know that the costs are not coming down, they're going up. And would you think it would be prudent just to kind of put in maybe a 1% increase per year, and everybody would be, it would be known, and we would feel maybe more confident with the reserve?
I'm not going to tell you that I'm a proponent of putting in an increase just to have one every year. I think right now is a really difficult time to try to project plan costs, because we're looking at utilization that we all know and believe that was kind of pent up from folks staying home in 2020 and having to go out and have those services or catch up on maybe some of those services in 2021. Hopefully, we all hope and pray that we come to some form of an end, or maybe not an end, but a norm to the pandemic, and that these hospitalizations and 7-figure claims that we have from COVID calm down. So with that, those two things, that normalization in the absence of COVID would actually take some dollars out of the plan. We know that healthcare inflation's all there. Butch, the short answer to your question is we just monitor it very closely, and I'll always keep you abreast of how the plan's performing. And you know, the administration and you guys will direct me more in your thoughts on that. Some folks are going to be in the camp to put a little increase in every year. Some folks are going to be in the camp to do it when necessary. Either one achieves the same results over the long haul. I will tell you, you know, 1% annually versus 3% once every 3 years. I've done this long enough that neither one of those is a high enough percentage to have significant ill will from any of your members. I mean, if we were talking about not having an increase for several years and then all of a sudden needing a double-digit increase, yeah, that's impactful. But 1 to 3% certainly not too bad.
Okay, well, it was just a question. Someone had brought that up, and so it clarifies things, and I'll go with you on that part of it, because you've done a great job so far. I mean, I really thank you so much. We're holding our own, and it was just a question that someone had put forth to me, and I said, well, look, I can ask. It's no problem. But thank you so much. I agree with you.
Thank you.
Any
And
more questions?
from your past statements, I feel real comfortable that when we do need, I think you will certainly come and say, look, we need to do this. So appreciate that too.
And Carol Broussard isn't here, but I'll say it for her because she would if she were here. We would like to know sooner rather than later.
Oh, Lynn, here's something else too. On the Regenex, have we gotten an update on that or not?
Well, you saw in the reporting, I mentioned that we had about $240,000 of claims towards Dr. Bond. So it's gaining some traction. And then the other thing was that musculoskeletal, which is always our runaway diagnostic category and is for most school systems. That has had some calming when I was really looking for it to have a substantial increase, because if you had to have a musculoskeletal or orthopedic surgery, unless it was a dire emergency, you probably put it off in 2020.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Well, it was just a thought.
Yep. Lynn, before you leave, because I know Lynn usually drops off to that, and we have 4 or 5 more things on the agenda. The last thing on the agenda is fund balance. So I've talked a little bit about it, and while you're on here, you know, so we're looking at the $1,088,000 loss. Once that hits our fund balance, we'll end up with a fund balance of about $2,583,000, which is about 15 days of operations. So I didn't know if you were going to stay to the end of the meeting, but I just wanted to say that to the committee and to you while you and Brooke were still on the call.
And that's getting tight. Yep.
Anything else from Mr. Fontaine? Thank you, Lynn and Brooke.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, contracts and services. Trish, I think she emailed us all the contracts and services. If you could explain, Trish, because the question that was posed to me was why some contracts were renewed the first of the year without input from the committee. I didn't know if they were automatic renewals or, excuse me, how that happened.
Which ones are you referring to? Because at the last committee meeting, we discussed Blue Cross, we discussed stop loss, Humana, EBI, and RX benefits at the 10/26 meeting. Are you referring to anything in particular?
No, I'm not. I was just asked that question.
Okay. Because technically, the ones that you see on there, we did discuss them at the last meeting. I was just going to provide a little bit more input. We did renew the Blue Cross. There was roughly a 3.9% increase in the admin service fees that they charge us. So we will see a rate increase come January 1st of 2022. But we did renew with regard to the admin fees. The stop loss, we did change the carrier. It's still with, still coincides with Blue Cross, but it is with HM. There's no rate change there. There's been a 3-year rate guarantee. But we did discuss that one too. And then Humana, we did have a great reduction, a 1.7% decrease from last year's rates to 2022. So if we had members transitioning to Humana, we did see a slight decrease with their premium. But yes, ma'am, we tend to offer those dates. And if a date is coming up, administration does review it. It goes through the proper channels prior to renewal.
So do any of these renewals go to the board?
No, ma'am. No, looking at these, the board already approved Regenix. I'm trying to think, Mass Mutual was approved many, many years ago. US Able Life was approved last year in February. So at some point they were approved by the board. I don't believe wellness was, what's that?
They don't go back to the board for renewals.
No, they do not. No, ma'am. Administration reviews them based on the contract terms, and Ms. Trosclair, the superintendent, signs off on them.
Okay.
When is Blue Cross is, when is that contract up?
It's an annual renewal, so it's annually. HUB pulls the information. They do an extensive research prior to us doing the renewal, just to make sure that Blue Cross is still the provider to stick with. And then based on that information, administration makes the approval or denial.
Yes, please don't change that. Blue Cross, God knows, has been
So
incredible.
If people are interested, the question I got was specifically about Blue Cross Blue Shield. If people are interested in that contract, it will come due again in January of next year, correct?
It comes due at the end of the year. Lynn
So
Fontaine and then
December?
look at it in the fall. And then it gets signed off by the superintendent and then effective January 1st of the following year.
So if some member of the self-funded plan is interested in being at a meeting when that's discussed, what meeting would it be? Would it be the meeting in the fall?
I don't know that we open up to individuals. It's administration, it's staffing and administration.
No, this committee has
Okay.
always, Butch can comment because I think he's the longest serving member at this point. But the committee in the past has approved some of these contracts.
The ones that go through RFP get a recommendation by the insurance committee and then approved or denied by the board. But no, not other contracts. No, ma'am.
So it,
And that is correct. In past years, what would happen is that we've had Blue Cross Blue Shield. There was no sunset. They would just simply automatically renew it, and unless there was a conflict where someone else wanted to come in and bid against, and then that's where we had the Kia problem.
so the concern if somebody had and wanted to express that, it would be to the superintendent.
I would think that would be the way to go. Yes.
Okay.
It eventually lands on the superintendent's doorstep for signature.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okie doke. Thank you very much. The retiree contact, we need just numbers, Trish. The number of retirees.
Okay, so the number of retiree point of contacts, we have 2,539.
Total number of retirees first, if you could give us that.
It's the combination of the two. Hold on one second. Let's see. It's the $3,292 retirees. Of that total, 2,539 we have email addresses for, and 753 did not provide email addresses. So all we have is a physical address for those members.
What is the status if it looks like we're going to have a premium increase or any kind of cost savings or whatever it looks like might be proposed as a result of what Matt said the fund balance looks like it will be?
What are you
What is-
asking? How will we communicate with them?
I'm curious about the robocall. That would be the easiest, quickest way.
It's
And the
not an
cheapest way.
option. Okay, so it's not an option through J-Call. We went back through the process with IT. It is absolutely not an option. So I'm since have been trying to get at least 3 quotes from other outside resources. Like we use Remind 101 on a regular basis here at central office. I have since spoken with them. I've got a quote from them. And I have since spoken with another communications company. I have a quote from them, and I'm waiting on another conference call to try and get a 3rd quote. But you're gonna have to pay if it would have to be worked into budget if you're wanting that type of resource for retirees that is immediate. It can be done via voice, it can be done via text message, it can be, go ahead.
The 96-year-old I talked to couldn't do the text message.
Okay, well, they could receive it, or it would come via a robocall. They could listen to the message that was presented, but we're limited in what we can send just based on the type of phone that the member has. And if we are gonna want that immediate type of communication for retirees, there will be a charge for it because there's not a resource here at LPSS for it.
So what you're telling us is that you have a contact for every retiree. Some are email, a little under 800 are physical. But that's
the members that return the information. Yes, those are the numbers that we have for email and for physical.
and that's the total number of retirees in the plan is 3,292.
Not in the plan, in the number of retirees at LPSS that are coded as a R. We code them, that way we can designate and pull that data. Just like an active member, active members we can pull data from. So we code the retirees as a R, and then based on those numbers, those are the amount of point of contacts that we have back.
So are there retirees on our plan that are not coded as R?
No, they are. They're either retiree, return to work. We code them so we can pull their information readily available.
So that is the total number of retirees in the plan.
Not in the plan, as the total number of retirees with LPSS. So we take every single retiree that's coded and has processed through here at LPSS. That's who I'm referring to. So of those numbers, I don't have a Blue Cross number for you. You were asking for point of contact information. So when I communicate to retirees, I send communications to in both of these resources. I'll send emails to those that we have the 2539. And then depending on the type of communication, we send snail mail. We send mail to those retirees. Like we sent the information in the newsletters recently that had some of the changes that we had.
So do you have a total number of retirees in the plan?
No, not currently with me. No, ma'am.
Can you get me that if you don't mind?
Okay.
When you have time?
You're asking for the total number of retirees? Because keep in mind, you've got subscribers and they're counting those totals.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. Because it's going to be imperative if we end up having to make any changes that we let those folks know. And
But they're being known with those totals. They're within that grouping.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Affleck, what happened, Trish?
Okay, so the statement you made earlier, they were not mailed out after the fact. They were mailed prior to Christmas. You've got to keep in mind that we're in the midst of COVID and the delay of the mail. So they were mailed. I did confirm that piece. I'm thinking it's just the U.S. Postal Service that delayed. I didn't even get my card until about the 3rd week in January. So I think it was just the process of the delay. With regard to any members that had an appointment in January, they typically called us or they contacted us via email, and either myself, the staff here, or EBI assisted those members with obtaining their temporary card information. That way, if they did have an appointment in January, they didn't have to delay it. So we still got them their information. With regard to the questions, I have spoken to Butch. We were trying to nail down that piece with regard to the retiree cards versus the active member cards. So the way that I'm understanding it is there were two templates made because there's different plan types for actives and retirees. So the two templates look different. It's not that anything was left off of the card, because technically the only thing that's needed on both active members and retirees is the member ID number. If you pull it up electronically, you can see the member ID number and the customer number, which is what or rather the group ID number.
Group ID.
Yeah. So you can see it electronically, but it's not needed by the dentist. So there wasn't a piece of information that was left off of the card. Both the active cards and the retiree cards have all the necessary information that they need to have on them. It's just that the template looks different. And as a result, the group ID is not on the retiree card. So we had a cause for concern. I had Butch call me, and I had one or two other retirees. They noticed that when they pulled it up electronically and they enrolled in the portal, they showed that they could see that group ID number. And so they were concerned that something got left off of their card, but that's not the case. There wasn't a piece missing, and everybody has the necessary information on their current cards.
I got several calls, but their concern was that the dentist did need the group ID number. And you're saying
Yes, ma'am. My understanding is they do not. And if they do, if they're getting those type of comments, direct them to insurance, LPSS insurance, and we'll facilitate the matter. It's obviously a new change, so we have had to help with the dentist. We've had a few inquiries just asking for information. The delay in the cards with receiving them on their doorsteps on day one, just to the mail coming late, that caused some issues, but we were able to help those members that reached out to us and had a dental appointment.
And the other calls I got, my understanding was one of the reasons to change to Affleck was it was an increased network.
Right.
Is that the case, that the Affleck network is greater than the Dina Dental network?
Yes. So that Dina Dental had Dentamax, which Affleck has the same, and then Affleck has their own set of providers. Keep in mind, a lot of our members were using out-of-network dentists.
Yeah.
So based on that, if they were out-of-network before, they're likely going to be out-of-network again, moving forward. But that's where
that was
the issue were.
All right, Blue Cross Blue Shield card.
So I do have.
I'm sorry, Butch, you have something to say? I know you got a bunch of calls.
Yeah, with the dental program, we're under the Argus umbrella, AugustDental.com, and you can go find out if you have one there. What I'd like to ask Trish is there a way we can put on the LPSS website, in the insurance part of it, just a hyperlink that brings you to that particular site where it shows all the providers? Is that a possibility?
It's already there. It is there. Tamara built it. It was there prior to it coming live. So if you go to lpssonline.com, if you go to insurance and benefits, we have plus signs on all of those items. You are going to have to open the plus sign in order to get to the Affleck information. It's going to be under EBI, if I'm saying that correct. Let me just glance while we're talking it through to make sure. But it is there, and then all they have to do is click on it, but they do have to open up that plus sign.
Okay, well then, would it not be prudent to go ahead and just let everybody know about that? Because I'm not sure that everybody understands or will go to that to know where to go to find the providers, and if they're in the network or they're out of network.
So when we sent out the email communications, I sent direct links to those clickable links that I'm referring to. Everything is under insurance and benefits on the main LPSS website. We have clickable links everywhere. It's
Okay.
just a matter of pulling up that page and then opening the plus sign in order to see the needed information. Due to the new website changes, you can't see it at first glance. You have to open it up.
Okay, all right. So let's see.
There's
I
no
can
way,
send you like a snippet and show you which drop down. It is under educational benefits, who is the voluntary benefits provider.
Okay.
And they're the ones that manage the Affleck Dental. Does that make sense? But I can send it to you in a snippet so you can see.
and there's no way on the website, Trish, we can just market it as dental so people could access it quickly?
Yeah, that just make
No,
it.
because we have it based on the groups, like the retiree has a group, newsletter has a group. It is listed under EBI, which is your voluntary benefits. Everything's listed under there. They have every clickable link possible. You have the providers, you have the portal instructions to where you can log in and look at your card, look at your claim information. It is readily available. It's been there since prior to the onset of
Anything else, Butch, or anyone else?
That's
I was going to ask, because I got asked today, is everybody that's covered under the plan going to get their own card, or is it just the main person that's insured with LPSS? Like, my wife and I are both teachers, but I insure with her. I don't do a separate plan. She got her card from Affleck. Am I going to get one, or my kid's going to get one, or is it just the one card for her?
So my card has my dependents listed, and I'm looking at the other cards, Butch's does too. And
Yeah.
we've looked at a couple other members. It says, like, if it's just individual, it will say self. If it's dependents, it will list the names of the dependents.
right. That's exactly correct.
Like, when I look at his, I can see his wife's name listed on it.
Yep.
I do have a pause here. I'd like to also state, so it was brought to our attention this afternoon that the 2-1 deductions for dental will not deduct. There was an issue at teachers' retirement with additional compliance information needing to be signed, sent back, and verified, and the deductions will not be going through on 2-1. However,
Again?
it will be a plus. Members will not be charged for the month. So we're working through that process. I'm trying to, since it happened later in the day, I'm still trying to get details with regard to steps and how to communicate with everybody. But this is specific to the retirees, because we're talking a pension deduction, which is through teachers' retirement, and we're talking an ACH if the member signed up through a bank draft. So just retirees only. You will not have a premium deduction for dental, just due to the issue that they were having specifically with teachers' retirement. They're going to ensure that the ACHs do not go through, because the teachers' retirement premiums are not going to deduct on 2-1.
So they did not get a deduction in January and they won't get one in February, but they won't be
Correct.
charged.
Right, no, they won't be double billed. The January was supposed to hit on the 2/1/2022, and then it did not. So then this next month will be free too. They will not be charging the member for it.
Thank you. Anything else?
The active members will see that premium deduction come out of their 131 payroll for dental insurance. Just a note.
Anything else? Thank you, Trish. Pharmacy benefit manager for Blue Saber. I don't know who's covering that.
I've got the Blue Cross card reissue, Miss Nancy. Y'all voted for that one and you had enough votes. Do you want to discuss that one as the next one?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're exactly right, Trish. Yes. So we tore up cards and we didn't tear up cards. Apparently, people who tore up cards, even though they got notified, were concerned that they couldn't go to the doctor because they didn't have a card to go to the doctor because they had torn up their card. And I had several calls that thought they had no insurance anymore because they had torn up their card.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted to be sure we clarify at the air tonight so people know what the deal is with the Blue Cross Blue Shield card.
Tricia, you want me to take it? Just
Sure.
kind of let them know what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a new law that went into place last year called the Consolidated Appropriations Act. And part of that act has to do with transparency. So for those of you who got the card, you're going to get a new one, and I'll explain that in just a little bit. But the one that you did have, if you notice the difference from last year, it includes member cost share. So what it includes that your old card didn't is deductibles and co-pays and out-of-pockets. It lists that on the front of the ID card, so there's true transparency. When you go to the doctor and you hand the doctor your card, they can see what your deductible and your copay is immediately without having to log into a system and view it. So Blue Cross issued new ID cards on their entire book of business, the entire state of Louisiana, and they did so without providing a proof to the group leader, Trish, or to the broker to say, hey, do you approve of this ID card? The vendor basically took the current membership, issued an ID card with the medical benefits only, which in your cards are customized and always come to us for proof. It left off the pharmacy bin information because you guys outsource your pharmacy. So it left off pharmacy information, and it also pulled off the logo. And that's because of so much information needing to be put on the ID card. They just, at the end of the day, they should have gave us a proof. They should have gave Trish a proof for us to review and approve before the mailing went out. That didn't happen. So when we were notified that the card was missing the pharmacy information, from there, we requested that they redo the cards, give us a proof, which we're still waiting on a final proof for the enhanced and basic plan, which we're hoping to have that by the end of the week. But that's kind of what happened. It was an automatic thing, and a proof wasn't provided.
So for those people who tore up a card and have no card, they're going to get a card, but
yes, ma'am.
It's going to happen in February. In
the next few weeks, it's going to happen. Like Trish mentioned before, with the mail is slow. I'm still waiting for the final proof because I've gotten a couple of them that I did not approve. I sent them back for, there was, certain errors on there that I wanted them to go back and fix. So I do expect to get a proof to review by the end of this week. Once that proof is reviewed by Trish, us, and the PBM, then we're going to give them approval to go ahead and mail it. So I'll be in contact with Trish and her team on the final mailing. But at the end of the day, everybody's coverage information stayed the same. Nobody was pulled out of the system. I know it's unfortunate. We apologize for that. Had they gave us a copy of that proof, we'd have reviewed it ahead of time. So I do apologize for that, but they are going to send us a new proof to review.
So the people who have no cards, just so we're clear, can go to the doctor. They still have insurance. They just don't happen to have the card in their hand, but they still have the insurance.
Yes, ma'am, they do. And for the most part, the pharmacy probably has their information saved in the system from last year and are running their scripts just like normal. The only way, and again, they could ask us for a temporary copy of a card and we can get them that in the meantime. I know Trish's department's been doing a great job of helping those folks who may have thrown away the card. So they definitely indeed have coverage.
Thank you very much. That's really important to folks. And I can understand how there's a misunderstanding, but I appreciate it. And I'm glad y'all are fixing it. Thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right, next item, pharmacy benefit manager for Blue Saber. Who is the pharmacy benefit manager for Blue Saber? We have always...
Express Scripts, Miss Nancy. We transitioned to that back in 2016 when they were talking about keeping the pharmacy benefits with the high deductible health plan. We carved out the others under the basic in the enhanced plan, and those went to RX benefits or CVS Caremark, and the high deductible plan stayed directly with Express Scripts. It's been that way for quite some time.
So I certainly didn't know about it. So Blue Saber has Express Scripts, and basic and enhanced are with RX benefits.
Yes, ma'am. I was just going to explain the reason behind that.
Please.
So the Blue Saver plan is a high deductible health plan where the medical out of pocket and the pharmacy out of pocket is integrated. When you have a one bucket where your claims, whether they're medically related or pharmacy related, go into one bucket, they need to be integrated. And Blue Cross can only administer a high deductible health plan when there's integration, which is the reason why Blue Cross's preferred PBM is Express Scripts, which is why we have to maintain that PBM with Blue Cross. Versus the enhanced and the basic plan have two separate out-of-pockets for medical and pharmacy. You have a medical out-of-pocket bucket and a pharmacy out-of-pocket bucket. They accrue towards two different out-of-pockets, so we're able to have two different vendors to utilize those plans. Does that make sense?
And presumably there is a cost savings to having two different ones?
Yes, that's
Lynn,
Lynn, you're on mute. Lynn, you're on mute.
If you remember, right after one of the first things we did right after 2016 was brought that RX benefits savings into the plan. We would have taken the Blue Saver from Express Scripts as well, but you can't because we needed to leave that integration in there. But we've saved a ton of money. Absolutely.
So there is no way to include, because it's all one bucket for Blue Saver, they cannot go with RX benefits.
No, ma'am.
Correct.
And the vice versa. The enhanced and basic cannot go with Express Scripts, or could they?
Good, but it costs us money. Costs us a lot of money.
It would be an increased cost. Okay, that's the reasoning that I was asked about, and I did not know the answer, so thank you very much. Last is the fund balance, which Matt already told us. I wish he had different news, but Trish, the fund balance?
$2,583,967.
And at our last meeting, it was 3 million. Matt,
It's
do you
been
remember?
reduced by $1,088,000.
Yeah, it was plus $1,088,000. So it was, right over 3 million. So we lost $1,088,000 this year as of June 30th, which was really close to Lynn's number of 1,021,000. So we've encouraged Lynn to speak to our accounting staff, try to get that number closer so the committee doesn't see a different number that the board sees and the public sees. We want to keep them in line. And I think we've made a jump towards that, but it's still not good news. That's 15 days. We have about $60 million in operating revenue, $60.5 million operating revenue. So that gives you about, what did I say?
15 days?
15 and a half days of operation. In the general fund, we like to go with 2 months of operation, 2.5 months. So we're significantly less than that. One large claim could wipe that fund balance out, as we saw. The difference between the large claims this year was about that 2 million.
Yeah, that's was my concern.
Yes.
Looking at what large claims are, it could take one claim.
Correct. And we're lucky this year that that went down, but if large claims would have been the same as last year, we'd be at 0 right now.
Hey, Brooke, can we just talk to the point that Silver Scripts does have an impact on that just because we are on a lag? We're a good 6 months behind with regard to rebates and reimbursements. So all the while you did have expenses still coming through, but with the transition to Silver Scripts, while it still has saved a lot of money, you were still incurring expenses and not receiving those revenues because we stopped our partnership with Part D advisors. So that does have some impact, and it's playing catch up is what it's doing.
So you're saying that 2.5 million that we're currently looking at will increase because of the Silver Script that's not yet on the books?
No, I'm saying that reduction in your unaudited fund balance has an impact from the Silver Scripts because when we implemented it in January of this year, you're on a lag because your rebates and your reimbursements have not started coming until June, 2 quarters later. So all the while you were still incurring expenses, but the revenues from those rebates and reimbursements were not coming through. So that's, unfortunately, it's kind of like a catch up. You're in that process, you're not fully there, and it's going to take just a little bit of progression to realize those monies that should be coming through, but just are not here yet.
What about the million plus from the federal money, the COVID money?
It is, we did receive word the other day. It's actually going to be 1 million to, I've got to look at my numbers. I don't know that I have it right in front of me, but 1.2 million and some change. It pays for COVID claims all the way up to August 31st of 2021. And the accountant is saying that we may be able to receive those monies by the end of February.
Kiddo. Before we have a motion to adjourn, which I know we're all waiting for, the next meeting we had scheduled in April, I believe, but we are going to have a meeting March the 15th. Our bylaws require, in the purpose statement, the committee is intended to assist the school board in effective and transparent administration, which is why this meeting was important, of all insurance-related programs provided by the school board for the benefit of active and retirees. The committee shall make recommendations to the school board on all proposed budgets, budget revisions prior to the school board's consideration. Trish tells me the insurance budget goes to the board on March the 22nd. So we need to have our next meeting on March the 15th so that we have time to make that recommendation to the school board prior to the March 22nd meeting.
Miss Nancy, that date is March 29th. It goes to the board for the budget.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were telling me March 22nd. So March 15th is the next meeting, unless that's a problem for everyone. It's another Tuesday night. Is that okay with everybody? All right, we'll plan on the March 15th meeting. I think Trish has already put it on the calendar.
Yes, ma'am.
And we'll send out the reminders. And hopefully we won't be on Zoom. I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
That was, and I need a second.
Second, Burnell.
Burnell. All those in favor. Oh, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Roll call vote. Wait, roll call vote. Mary Jane? Mary Jane?
Got what job?
Mary Jane, you want to adjourn?
Okay.
She's saying yes, but she's on mute. Butch?
Yes.
I didn't hear.
Yes. Burnell?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Phyllis?
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Mia?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Melanie? And thank all of you so very much for your patience and your tolerance. I know it was a long night, but I'm most appreciative, and at least we know that we may have some things to look at in the future. And Lynn, if that March 15th meeting gives you an opportunity, I don't know if it's just going to be budget meeting, because we're going to keep the April meeting on our schedule in case we still need it. Thank y'all very much. Have a great evening.
Thank
What's
you.
left?